Success Express, your business, career, and financial radio magazine. Hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Well, hop aboard the Chattanooga Choo-Choo, everybody. We're going to Tennessee, cool. Eastern Tennessee today. Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Success Express show. We have Ralph Masengill Jr. joining us, Mr. Change Agent. He's back on the show today to talk about the 20-50-30 rule of change and how it can reduce stress in your business. That's already a winner.
That's a biggie.
And improve leadership skills, a very important thing. And I don't know any business that doesn't have some form of change come about, and you're either creating change and moving forward, or you're sitting there and allowing change to happen to you. Sometimes that may not feel that good. Nope. But anyway, we're going to talk about what to do with this, change happening, and especially when you want to move forward with a project. Ralph is a best-selling author and award-winning advisor, a coach, a marketing expert, business consultant, and public relations strategist. And his latest and must-read book is Conquer, Change, and Win, an easy-to-read, fun book on the serious subject of change. Of course, you can get on Amazon. You can go right to his website, conquerchangeandwin.com. I keep trying to tell him to make it Conquer, Change, and Win, and wine. Wine and win?
Which kind of wine?
Win and wine, but he's in moonshine country, so it's a little different. But he's also a regular contributor here on Big Blend Radio, and his articles and interviews are featured in our digital Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. And you can see all that if you go to blendradioandtv.com, and you'll see Mr. Change Agent in our expert department. So just look for Ralph. So welcome back, Mr. Change Agent. How are you doing over in Tennessee?
Thank you, ladies. I know it's 80 degrees out there. It's 32 where I am. So guess where I want to go?
You want to come out here and hang out in saguaro cactus country of Tucson, Arizona, in the sunshine.
I do. That sounds great, but we'll try to create some sunshine right here in East Tennessee in the next little bit.
Okay, we like that. Yeah. We like that. I'm very excited about talking about the 20-50-30 rule because it's something that
it's true.
It's true, but I think it's really important. And I think if people don't adopt it, they get browbeaten or they don't stand up for whatever change they want to make in a business, whether you're the business owner, worried about what even clients or your community says, or your employees. No matter what, when a change has to be made, a change has to be made, right? And so this is something that really puts it straightforward of how people react to change and moving forward on things.
That's exactly right, and well said. It is indeed a rule. It is not a theorem, or it's not something you should try every now and then. It is a proven instrument to enhance your bottom line in any business and enhance your happiness in your personal life. And that sounds like a big order, but it handles it very nicely indeed. I
like to handle my bottom line and have that increase and be solid. I need a solid bottom line. That's important. But so the 20-50-30 rule, what exactly is that? Because the numbers represent number of people in your immediate community, right?
That's exactly right, especially like you had mentioned in tourism or in any group or any organization. You're going to find that if you bring forth change management, in other words, you want to make a change, you will find that 20% of the people are all for it. They're what we would call gung-ho, and they're ready to change today. And then you've got 50% of the people who are kind of watching that 20%, but the 50% are undecided. They haven't decided whether they want to go along with this or not, but they haven't said no. And then there's the 30%, And the 30% is the group that says no, absolutely no, heck no, and I cleaned that up just for your ears, Lisa.
Well, isn't it kind of interesting because there is the law of numbers, even in sales, or it's like I remember a presentation a man gave. I was at some networking meeting, and he was like, "Well, we're a postcard company," and just because we're in marketing and advertising too, and it's interesting because I found it very. He's looking at the return, and he's like, okay, if you send 100 out, you're going to get, if you only get a 1% response, and blah blah blah. But there's always this percentage of, like, there's a 10% to a 10%. Like, you do something, 10% will react, and then 10% of who reacted of that 10% will actually do something. There's like this law that happens no matter what. And
it's like that situation of the 80-20 rule. And, of course, the 80-20 rule is 80% of our results come from 20% of our labor or 80% of our income will come from 20% of our customers. And that's pretty much, I think, what everybody understands but doesn't believe. And that's
so everybody
one of
put
the
your prices up.
Yes, and that's one of the problems with the 20-50-30 rule. In essence, it is so simple, and it always works. And I think that is one of the reasons people never, generally speaking, give it enough credit, and they lose business and profit because of that.
I noticed when I had employees in South Africa that there was always a group that no matter what, they never even could produce good reasons, couldn't seem to handle or wouldn't look at, we're going to change this, and this is why, and this is how. And I learned pretty quickly on there's always that little group that's going to say no, 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 and they try to pick it apart, and they try to come up with reasons, and they haven't even thought it through before they start saying no.
Yes,
and
then if you're not careful, they'll sabotage what you're trying to do.
Exactly. So I learned pretty early on that there was kind of a couple of people who always seemed to be the leaders of that group, so they were the first to get the chop on the block. There you go, you're fired. Because you're not.
Well, that is exactly what you should have done, and you must ignore that 30%, that 30% of resistors, and that's almost universally true. You must have nothing to do with them because they're of no value, and if you waste time and money on them, you're just going to give them an opportunity to see that they're being pampered or being wooed, if you will, and they get more demanding in their negativity.
And they also go to the other group and try to get them to come over on their side.
Amen. They go recruiting others.
Yeah.
They do indeed.
Evil little so-and-sos. Little mosquitoes. So let's call them the mosquitoes.
But I never put the numbers to it like what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's really true because even when you look at, there's a 20-80 rule you were talking about, but then there's also, when you look at leaders and leadership, there's that 20% too. It's like this is kind of just about, this is how civilization is. You're going to have 50 who kind of go, okay, we're going to be the group mentality. I'll do what everybody else does.
Yeah.
There's the 20% that says, hey, let's go see if, the world is round. And then you got the 30% saying, no, the world is flat.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it.
Saying it.
So, yeah.
Well, that's absolutely true, and it works, unfortunately, for things other than geography.
So when you're in a business situation or an organization, and I did really want to touch on this with you because I know that you have been in chambers of commerce and community planning and understanding tourism, and we're doing a tourism series. I know that this article of yours, and everyone, number one, this is well covered. There's a whole chapter devoted to it in Conquer, Change, and Win, Ralph's book, and it just really goes hand in hand with everything in his book. So I encourage you to go get the book, conquerchangeandwin.com. But also you've got an article up on blendradioandtv.com. Just type in 205030 in our search box and you'll find it. But also we have a tourism series that we are doing in our Parks and Travel magazine and on Big Blend Radio and nationalparktraveling.com, where we're really showing about putting the eye back into community. And it's about you can't have responsible tourism. We're talking about birders and people coming for history and art and, farmers markets and that good stuff. The Chattanooga Choo Choo, which we watched on TV the other day, by the way, the actual that is like an incredible attraction you have in Tennessee. But you cannot have the tourism without a healthy community. And you cannot have the community needs to be part of the tourism plan, otherwise the tourism will not happen. So they work together, they're hand in hand. And tourism will definitely benefit a community if it's responsible and a community has a vision of knowing what they want to be. And what we've seen is a lot of times we go into a lot of smaller communities and parks, and from our tour, our Spirit of America tour, you go into a restaurant or a bar or something, you talk to the locals, which we do, and over, a jug of shine, and you'll hear them say, "Oh, we hate tourists coming here," and blah, 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 blah.
Do you take very good notes? Because I doubt if you could remember it all.
I record everything. On a little recorder, and then we go, "Did I say that? Did he say that?" But you hear the hatred for tourism, and it's because they have not been included in the plan, or at least there's this. And if the tourism plan is not balanced, and everybody's coming in one season, and you don't have the amenities for it, doesn't work. So what we're trying to say is, like, how do we? Does a 20-50-30 rule apply when you look at a community coming together for an economic vision such as tourism and infrastructure and things like that?
Absolutely, and it works on both sides of that ledger. The group, the tourists that are being catered to have that breakup of the 20-50-30.
Oh, yeah.
And the folks in the community are running the facility in that whole area have the 20-50-30 rule as a part of their lifestyle as well. It's everywhere, but especially it's where it's people heavy.
Yep.
When it's people heavy, you better take under consideration this rule, because it will be your friend.
It's really true, because once I fired somebody and I knew I now had to replace them, I would look for pretty much the opposite personality, so that I wouldn't get the same kind of person again. Because I got really tired of the group of people, and at the end of the day, I remember just going home sometimes and thinking, "Oh, wait a minute, this is my company and I'm the boss. Why am I worried about someone who can't see the vision and doesn't want to go where I want to take my own company?"
All you're doing is you're getting rid of a problem that is never going to be of value. And if you have something that's of no value and is a possible detriment, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out what you need to do, and it's exactly what you said. Get rid of that situation.
Because it is like a cancer, right? Because, like you were saying, we're like,
it does grow. But it spreads like wildfire if you leave it untended.
Yeah, but the 50%, you're going to have the 20% of the people that are going to be the change makers, like get on board and have even more ideas and actually get into the implementation. But the 50%, aren't they really important too? Because once they get into it, then, they'll move forward, kind of thing, and they'll be like your
yes,
math.
that's exactly right. What we have here is in the 20%, we have folks who have seen the light, so to speak, and they're all for this, and most of them are very gung-ho. The next group is the 50%, and they are somewhat undecided, and it could be for many, many reasons. They could be confused about what's getting ready to change. They could be uninformed, or misinformed, or informed to the point that they don't understand it and need some more explanation. And of course, the 30%, I see those folks. Bless their little pea-picking hearts. I see them as just a poison. And you must get rid of that poison or it will affect the other 70%. 70% is a tremendous average. And that's what we're after is the 70%, and we're not really after the other 30 because the cost of even going after it is so expensive and they are so demanding that you're absolutely battling that 30% to the neglect of the 50 and 20%.
That's exactly what
Wow,
happened.
that's amazing.
In fact, it's like having 2-year-olds that never grow past 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like a list of names?
Well, I have a list.
Well, Ralph, I think
how do I get
really
my name off that list?
No, you're not on that. You're in the change agent,
But you know what I mean? It's no matter what you do, they're still 2 years old.
But it's something I like what you said too about I'm going back to the tourism side because to me it's also you're looking at your customer too. If you're a shopkeeper or a restaurant owner, if you're Mark Zuckerberg, you've got to look at the fact that you've got 30% out there of your client base who are also not going to appreciate change. And I mean, we change all the time.
Right.
And
yes.
Every day I talk to a client, I'm like, guess what? Something's happening. And now, if we don't change, people are going to go, what's going on? Like that has become a thing of if you aren't changing, something's not right.
Well, and again, we need to understand that all men and women, that's a lot, all men and women regard all change, both good and bad, that's positive and negative change, with a feeling of loss. They have lost something. An example would be remorse or that pit of the stomach feeling that we all get from time to time. And that feeling of loss always creates some form of anxiety, anger, or fear. And those last three words are killers.
Yeah. And
so, that's what you want to avoid. You cannot stop change, but you can control change. And that's the key, and that's the goal.
And so when you look at now in the world of technology and things, so it's the 30% who say nasty things on the internet. It is.
Well,
like if you think,
I've never seen any of those things on the internet myself because I just go mostly to the spiritual channels.
I'm talking about when there's that.
Why are you giggling?
Because it's fun, but it's fun. But when you look at say something very simple as you go to a town and you love this bed and breakfast, and the bed and breakfast decided to become an inn and add more rooms, and maybe they sold to a different person, and then the clientele go, oh well, now it's not the same as it was, and yet what they're doing, maybe that community really needed those extra rooms because the town doesn't have enough hotel room or whatever. And, maybe they're doing it in this really cool thing, and there's all these benefits of how it helps everybody. But there's going to be 30% of their customers and 30% of their employees and 30% of their community is not going to like it. But if you move forward and you look at the 70% and you cultivate them, then you're going to – that's far bigger than the 30%.
Well, you'll make more money.
Yeah. And you can't – and as the person making the change, this is what I find is very important is you have to be strong and stay fixed on the 70%, because if you go to the 30%, you may not make the change that is really crucial to do, and you'll lose, not just on the financial side, but there is especially in entrepreneurs do they wear their business on their sleeve, especially solopreneurs, and they it's like every little thing. What are people thinking? Did someone unfollow me on Facebook? Did that kind of thing? There's Mark Zuckerberg, whatever. But that's what I'm saying. It's very important, I think, for it gives you that direction that is needed so that you don't change plans according to other people's whims.
Well, let me give you an example that actually happened. It didn't happen to me directly, but it happened to a table that I was next to. At this one table, there were about 6 people, and there was one person in that group of 6 that was unbearable to deal with. I mean, really and truly unbearable. And that person demanded this and demanded that, and this wasn't good enough, and my fork is dirty, and I want a cloth napkin, and, just on and on and on. and that poor waiter made the big mistake of ignoring the other 5 and catering to that person. He made 5 people get to a point they didn't want to ever come back, and the 6th one probably won't come just because he's ornery.
Wow.
And again, it's just he thought he was doing the right thing, and he just didn't know about the 50-20, the 20-50-30 rule. And because of that, and I don't think I could convince him he'd made an error.
Wow.
Because he would tell me that he went right where the problem was. And I said, yes, but you did that at the expense of everybody else having a great time.
Wow, that's a good example.
And he could have had all the others be his support system
and take the other guy outside.
That's exactly right. And I just very calmly say, sir, I will get to you just in a minute. I want to help your friends as well.
Exactly. But this goes.
How about, sir? It's very nice outside. Why don't you take a walk?
But you're exactly right with that answer, because I know we just interviewed a psychologist on this, on high conflict people, and he said you have to just go. It's really about time, and you don't direct anything at them directly. That you just go, I'm in the middle of this, and I want to help them, and as soon as that's done, I can take care of you. Like you didn't make an appointment to do this kind of thing. No, I'm not just in a restaurant situation, but your answer was like spot on to what it's psychology, in that you don't want to rile the 30% up either. You don't want to start a war with them.
So what you do is the minimum and ignore them the rest of the time, and you spend your time with the other 5, because that's where the big tip's coming from anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're nicer.
Yes.
And they're going to come back again, where this jerk probably wouldn't come back anyway.
Well, you don't really want them to.
No, that's exactly right.
It's like, why bother? Because it is true. when we do our seminars on tourism, the first opening, we play a game in order to address the people who already have an attitude when they walk in. What we do is we let them come to their own conclusion while we're playing the game. We ask, okay, what about this, what about that? And they answer, and by the end of the game, they have all seen the value in tourism. Even the ones who came in with the attitude and there to tell us how wrong we are have, by their own answers, their own questions, come to the same conclusion of everyone in the room. And it's really kind of cool because they think it's their idea, and we have learned to say, wow, what a great idea you guys have.
Tell them something, let them say it back to them, and give them the credit.
That's right.
Wow, this is cool. I like this stuff.
It saves time, because otherwise the meeting or the seminar will degenerate into the handful of people who come there not because they want to learn or embrace or make a change, because they want to disturb and disrupt. And
that's the 30%.
And they always sit in the corner.
That's the description of the 30%. You're right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they sit together.
Now I want to go into sales. So people in the world of sales, which any business, I don't care if you're in business, everyone's in sales in some way.
Caskets
even if it's
are sold. They're not just there. You sell everything.
And sell it now.
Everything, every person, including the preacher, is a salesman.
Oh yes, oh yes. And you want to make a change, you're in the sales thing. So the 20-50-30 rule applies to people out there cold calling, doing their networking, their sales. That rule applies as well. So
absolutely.
Don't freak out when the door gets slammed in your face. I've been there.
Well,
just go to the next
tough,
one.
But you've got to get up, brush yourself off, and go see 8 more people.
Mhm.
Well, the thing is, because that rejection is not about you. It's about that other person.
Not. You know, when I finally, after, it was about 5 minutes, or maybe it was 5 years. I can't remember exactly. But once I got that in my thick head, sales were always a fun thing for me. But they became even more fun.
Yeah.
Because I told the truth about the situation in a way that made sense. And the 20-50-30 rule is a fact. A rule is something that's been proven to the point of being a fact.
It's interesting. I never really put the numbers to it. I just always thought, well, here comes that group.
I like it. Yeah, but once you know that, then you just kind of go, oh, there's the 50%, and you take off any negative stuff that you feel. You just accept it and move on. It's kind of like you're looking at numbers instead of this is, these people over here are like whiny or something like that. Now you're not being rude. It's just like, okay, that's that side. That's always going to happen. Move on.
Absolutely. And again, for some reason, everybody wants to save the entire group. That has never, ever happened.
No.
It doesn't work.
There was a congressman in the district I happen to live in here in East Tennessee. He's passed on now. His name was Congressman Jimmy Quillen. Jimmy Quillen had the distinct honor of having the highest vote count of any congressman ever to run up to that point, and I assume it hasn't changed much. And the number of votes he garnered, which was a landslide, was 74%.
That's good.
Yeah.
It is good because
these
days
think
it's
it would be 82 or 88 even, but it's in the 70s, which goes right back to the 20-50-30.
Yep.
That's interesting, man. So everything you want to do, campaigns, I mean, everybody that's petitioning everything, it's like that you just know those numbers, and then you know how to plan better.
Yeah.
You plan for it.
You can plan your attack.
That's right.
You can plan your negotiation. You can plan your presentation. If you can believe that rule, you can save yourself all kinds of time and effort and enhance your sales ability from anywhere between 10 to 30%, depending on how bad you were before.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Like what you're saying about the 20-80 rule, you know, that's a big jump.
It
I like
is,
this.
and people don't realize what a big jump that is. And you start putting thousands of dollars with that, it's a huge amount of money and
it can compound.
Very exciting thing to look at. It's not a negative. It's a very big positive.
Wow. I just like this because I think it just takes the pressure off of it. You can have the challenge be the pressure, the change, whatever you're changing be the challenge, and get your teeth in there and go for it, you know. And it's exciting. You know, new things are exciting. You know, it really is. There's always something good that comes out of the bad. There's always something a little on the negative side from the good. That's just the way the world. It's a rule.
And
just like
and you need to make sure you're making the right change. I never will forget what Paul Horning said one time, tongue in cheek. He said, "When I read about the evils of drinking, I gave up reading."
Yeah, there you go.
That's funny. Funny.
And you know, this is true. I mean, that's funny. But when you look at this rule, you're talking about if for some reason you're finding that you're getting more than that 30% negativity thing going, then you got to take a look at how you're doing or what you're doing, because it's an indication that you got to revamp or make a change to how you're selling, what you're selling, what, you know, the kind of people you're selling to. You got to have a look at that. So when you start heading over 30%, now you know there's a thing to look at there. Otherwise, you might just keep heading right down that path.
What you do with the 20 and the 50, you negotiate with the 50 to get them to understand that the 20% are correct.
Okay, so your 50 is actually more important.
Absolutely.
50 is where the work takes place.
Yeah.
Okay. 20 is going to do it because they're going to do it. They're already sold. They're in it. They're in it. And then the 30, you just go, okay.
They're out.
Put your blinders on.
We ignore them. Totally ignore the 30.
And let's work on the 50.
Yeah, I like it. Direction is good.
It
gives you more room to be creative.
Yep.
Well, the key to this whole thing is, and I keep saying it, but it's true. It's so simple that most people just will not catch it and will not believe it, and that's to their detriment. And we who do believe are going to reap the benefit.
It's true. It's like, do you want to go up current or do you want to go with the flow that you created? You know, it's the same thing as trying to. When I go kayaking, Ralph, oftentimes, and I've told you the story of Nancy and I kayaking, you know, out in the swampy lands of the bayous of Louisiana, and going in circles backwards.
I remember that more as a swimming trip, as I remember it, but never mind.
Well, all I know is everybody was on vacation around that lake, just heard Lisa. My mouth is very loud when it wants to be, and everybody heard me. And I was was going backwards in circles, if you can imagine,
so funny.
with a towel over my head.
Yeah.
That was because I can't even. I look like the Grim Reaper.
Really, I don't know. It was really weird what you were doing. I was looking at her.
I have done my share of kayaking, and I guess the worst thing I ever did one time was go down a 5 rapid and lost my paddle.
Uh-oh.
See?
And I mean to tell you, I thought I never would stop turning over in that water.
Oh, that's not cool. That's scary.
That water was very cool.
That's cool. I know, man. Kayaking is good, but that's the thing. It's about understanding the rhythm and the flow. And when you have people pushing you back, then you can't flow forward. You lose that momentum. And that's what I really love about this. You know, when people get it, okay, I mean, I don't know. There's how many examples we've thrown out there and talked about it on this right now on this segment. But do you think people need to, like, tattoo it on their wrist or something, put up signs on their walls? Because I think if you only look at it as when you're goal setting or planning a change or this, you know, doing your charts and all that fancy stuff people do, people tend to pull these things out only at that time, and I think that's a mistake. This is something that you should, I believe, now getting it, that it should be in you. Like, you need to have that as part of life.
It works with everything. It really does. And people, again, and I know I'm being repetitious here, but people, it's just so simple that people just say it can't be true and it can't be that effective because it's too simple.
Well, I think humans do like to make things hard on themselves for some reason.
Well, if it's not hard, it's probably not worthwhile.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, right.
No pain, no gain.
No, you got to sweat it out.
There's little sayings like no pain, no gain.
Mhm.
Yeah, that kind of give you that attitude that if it isn't difficult, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, the last time I looked, one of the things every Fortune 500 corporation tries to do is to make what they do easier to do. And that's why they're a Fortune 500 company.
Well,
it's not about how hard I work. It's about how much I create with what I work, when I work.
It's about smart, using your brain, using these kinds of rules. I know we just did a segment on $1 million businesses that are one-person businesses that are bringing in over millions, And it's not about them toiling away for 24 hours a day. It's about them setting up, this is the way I want to do. It's how to be smart, how to use technology. Right now, there are so many tools out there that there's no reason to not work smart. I mean, there's just so many tools, through the Internet. Now you've got to watch that you may have to change those tools because there's buyouts, there's takeovers, there's data leaks. But
Mark Zuckerberg.
It's just like buying a new computer. It's out of date and of not much value after 3 years.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And if you keep an old computer, you're hurting your business.
Yep.
I have a new computer, and her name is Layla.
I have done that in the past. I mean, I've read about it.
Well, I have a new computer, and her name is Layla, and she took a while for her and I to get along, but we're getting along quite nicely. And I had to learn Change. And, and I tried to now, have Layla and Delilah work together, and Delilah said, "That's it, I'm out of here. You can't have two. You can only have one." So now I'm in a monogamy with my computer. They only work as one. But
Nancy,
you can't.
Nancy, do you have anything you'd like to confess?
No, I'm having fun listening to you.
What do you mean? Nancy doesn't have any sins. Don't you know that Nancy's the mother, therefore she's perfect and she's always right, Ralph? I just have to say it.
I apologize. I misspoke. It's clear.
She's perfect. She's the 20%.
You notice how I'm just being quiet right now. I'm enjoying this.
Again, my apologies.
I have to do
how
it.
Silly of me. I thought she was human.
Well, listen, this is how I learned. If you're in a business with your mother, then you one of us has to give over, and she's the mother, and so therefore, she gets to be the 20%, and I'll be the 50%.
No, actually, Lisa has 30% on her forehead.
No, I don't. No. No,
I'm just kidding.
You know what? I'm gonna go into a casino and start betting 20,
20, 30.
20, 50, 30. It's going to be my new
the
numbers.
odds might be a little not in your favor there.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to do that. But Ralph, this is such good information, and I appreciate it. I think it's a good. It's a good start for people to really work smart and have this. This has got to become a habit. More than a rule, it's got to be a habit.
Yes,
that you practice.
You couldn't be more.
Yeah,
that is absolutely right. It has to become a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I love this. Everybody, again, Ralph's article on this is up on blendradioandtv.com. You'll see it in the next Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. The current issue, the spring issue, is out right now, the April issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, and Ralph's got a great story in there telling his big story, his life-changing story of change. And you can say change twice in there because it was a life-changing story of change, and it's an incredible story. I encourage everyone to go read it. It's also up on blendradioandtv.com. Really, that's a wake-up call. That's a wake-up call of what change can do to get you on track and get everybody living happy and healthy. And so I appreciate you sharing that story with us, Ralph, and with our listeners and also our readers.
It's my pleasure. No problem at all. And, it's amazing to me that we are able to take this thing called change that always causes some form of pain, whether it's positive or negative pain. It always causes some form of pain. We can take that, control that, and make it our friend. And when we do that, we have matured into a successful person.
I'm just going to go now and look for something to change.
Okay, I know. I was just going to say, you said the word matured, and am I allowed to still giggle?
Yeah.
I'm matured. Because I got to have that. I got to have that. I want to be mature and giggle.
Well, you can.
Okay, good. Okay, that's important.
Being mature is knowing what to say. It has nothing to do with chronological age.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a big word.
That's
chronological age. That's a good one.
You can graduate from a giggle to a laugh.
Yes.
Well, when you're 76 years old like I am, I come up with those little doodads.
That's your new name is Doodad Ralph.
Doodad
I like that. Doodad Ralph. Before you go, Ralph, I do have to ask. Now, the Chattanooga Choo Choo thing, we did watch that on. They had this thing on the rail history and these old, railroad trips you can take, like to the Grand Canyon, and then they went to Tennessee. And this is incredible. This trip that you can go where there's waterfalls and. Do you know what I'm talking about, and have you seen it or done it?
I do, and it's all about seeing parts of Tennessee and Georgia, and it was that railroad was built probably 50 years ago. Of course, it's been upgraded, but it's in pristine country.
Wow.
It doesn't go through big cities. It goes through pristine, beautiful, beautiful country.
I know when Nancy and I were watching it, we're like, oh my gosh! And parts of the Appalachian Trail, I think, were in it, and people are getting off, and there was waterfalls that you couldn't normally get to unless you're like an avid, major hiker kind of thing, and so it was really accessible for everybody, and I think that's so great when you see those kinds of,
right.
ways
the
to get around.
The service on that train is excellent.
I saw that food, Ralph. It looks like Tennessee is good about food. I'm having a thing about that. I was looking at what they were serving on that train, and everybody looked happy, and those plates were big, and some people said that they went on the train for the food. That was
that's right. And of course we learned years ago that we always serve two great, beautiful mason jars of shine before we feed anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's why everybody over there is happy.
Don't give them any soakage at all. Just have the shine on an empty stomach. What could go wrong? Give it to the
right. Absolutely. Yes. Rocky Top. Let's go.
Yeah, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Well, of course, we're going to have to play some music for you, right? I have to go through our song selection of anything to do with change. But before we do that, everyone, again, conquerchangeandwin.com. And Ralph is also on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow him there. And don't forget, you can get his book on Amazon. So this is going to be a really amazing song for you, I think.
Okay,
because
I'm looking
I
forward
know your musical background somewhat. And this song... it's just beautiful. It's called Take a Chance. See, if you have, my thought is, if you know the 20-50-30 rule, then you will take that chance that you may not take.
That's
because
right.
you don't know the number thing.
Yeah.
See? So this is Take a Chance on Life. And it's by a band called Sasha's Block, and that's Sasha's Block, B-L-O-C, so sashasblock.com. It's off of their album Heart on Fire. And it's an incredible album. So enjoy this, Ralph, and thank you so much.
You're quite welcome, and you ladies have a great rest of the day.
You too. We'll send some sunshine your way.
You could go make snow
okay,
angels.
and I'll send some moonshine yours.
Okay, good. Thank you. Here it is, everyone. Take care. Take a chance.
Okie doke. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're looking at me with a smile. So let's dance, no pretense to the world, have a wonderful time. I am looking at you, you're looking at me with a smile and a moment of joy. So let's dance, no pretense to the world, have a wonderful time.
Again, that was Sasha's Block, and it's from their album Heart on Fire, and you can go to sashasblock.com. That's Sasha, SHASBLOC, SashasBlock.com. It was Take a Chance. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you for joining us for today's Success Express Big Blend Radio Show. Big Blend Radio airs every day, because we daily, Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, except for holiday weekends, because we know you're out there having a good time on your holiday weekend.
That's right.
So that's when we air, and you can keep up with the schedule. Just go to bigblendradio.com. We're on Facebook at Big Blend Radio and TV Magazine, and Twitter at Big Blend Mag. Thanks for joining us. Take care.